Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a motorcycle racing TV show, Team Chicago Challenge. My email is teamdan45@gmail.com. The website is teamchicago.tv. We're at Ashland, Ohio, on the eastern part of Ohio, and for a great half-mile race. It's a great cushion racetrack. There could be some pro riders. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to shoot. I don't know if I can wear my helmet cam. That all depends. I'm mainly here to race two different classes. That's what I'm concentrating on. If I get the helmet cam, that's great. If not, I'll show some of the footage, and I'll show some footage from the past. So let's check out what's going on in Ashland, Ohio. Don't forget my email, and I'd love to hear from my audience, teamdan45@gmail.com. We are looking at one of the practice sessions. This is the open vintage class. 95 goes flashing by. That's Skip Wertz. He's from Michigan. 50H is Joe Baker. He is from Ohio. As we spot 59 wide, that is Rick Reed. Not Rick Reed that used to own the Ford dealership in Waukegan. This is Rick Reed, I believe from California and now living in Illinois. I met him a few years ago at the Champaign race and at Elkhorn. I've seen him race. It looks like he's on his 500 Honda on his beautiful cushion track. Skip Wertz is on a Triumph, and I believe that Joe Baker is also on a twin Triumph, I believe. As Skip goes by one more time, earlier I had a chance to talk to this rider originally from California, now living in Illinois, Rick Reed. Let's go to that interview right now.
Hi, I'm Rick Reed, 68 years old, still racing flat track. Last year I was the 60 over AMA Vintage Flat Track Champion with my Honda and my Triumph, and we race all over the United States. A few years ago we put in 54,000 miles and did about 56 races that year. So we enjoy it.
So you're racing with your son. I don't see your son with you this year. Is he?
Yeah, I have.
Can't quite keep up.
Yeah. I have twin boys, and both of them ride, and also my grandson is riding now. No, they couldn't make it out here. They're getting ready for Davenport next weekend, and my brother's flying out from California and going to ride. So we're going to have at least four of us. My grandson won't ride. He's playing football. So there'll be four of us out of the Team Reed Racing that'll be racing at Davenport next weekend.
Okay, now I'll ask you the question, because I hate Davenport. I hate groove tracks.
Okay.
So what is your preference, and tell me why?
It can go either way. If it's a nice wide groove, we ran Stockton, Kansas a couple of weeks ago, did real good. Placed 5th in the Big Twins class, which is everything. Hooligans, it doesn't matter, and I was the first vintage bike in that one in 5th. A good cushion is a lot of fun. Wazion is really good. This one here can be really good, or it can be really rough. Right now it's kind of a little rough, but like Greenville last night was dry slick, hard slick. Wasn't a lot of fun.
Okay, future. How many more years do you intend to hit the road?
As long as I can, because I know there'll come a day where I won't be able to do this. That happens to everybody. Right now I'm feeling pretty good. So we'll go as long as we can. I know there's, like Skip Wertz is 77, and we've had some guys, Jack Warren, and a few of them out there still at 80. I raced with Dave Aldana, and he's 74, 73. Him and I still have a few good battles here. He beat me at DuQuoin on the mile, but a little shit. He's small. I give a lot of weight and horsepower.
Thank you, Rick. As Skip Wertz comes by one more time, he has been racing that Triumph motorcycle for many, many years. I've seen him race going all the way back to the early 1970s when I got into professional motorcycle racing. You see Rick go by one more time. I think Jimmy Pooler's out there. Might be Kyle Yoder. This class for bikes built prior to 1980. Any age of the riders, though. It's the age of the motorcycle allows you to ride. Rick comes by again on that single-cylinder Honda 500cc. So it's vintage motorcycles, any size. You can run a twin, you can run a single. As we see, Skip Wertz heading back into the pits. That practice session is over. And now we see Rick heading back into the pits also. And I caught up with Skip as he's changing the rear tire on his Triumph. Let's go to that right now. All right, I'm with Skip Wertz, and he's changing the gear on his, or changed the tire on his bike. He rides a 750 short ride Triumph like I do. The Trackmaster frame with a little different swing arm than my bike. So, what's your opinion of this track? Do you like Ashland or what?
It's good. It's good.
It's good. And you do your own engine work and
Most
do
of
the
it.
bikes? Yeah.
Most of it, except for the really technical stuff. Oh, come on. This is making me sweat. What'd you think of it?
I am way out of shape. I'm hanging on for dear life. And lucky, I found someone who's got a set of rollers, so I ain't even gonna bother to try to kickstart my bike.
Well, I was here, what, 3 weeks ago to the,
AMA race?
yeah.
How'd you do there?
I won the plus 60 class and I won the 500 750 brakeless class.
Oh, do you got another bike?
Oh, yeah.
So what, you got a 500 Triumph,
Yeah.
rigid tail?
Yeah.
And how long have you had that bike?
Oh, I've had them all for a long time. It's not some old racer's bike or anything like that. It's just one that we put together. I ride it once or maybe twice a year, that's it.
Well, I think the first time I met you was at Ludington, Michigan, at an AMA half mile. And you were expert, I was only a junior then. And that was the time I took the ferry. Instead of driving around, I drove up to Milwaukee and took the ferry and had my 2 kids with me, and they still talk about it because they think it's like being on an ocean liner. And then the ferry ended in Ludington. That was where we got off and we went and raced.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, well, I ain't gonna bother you anymore, but I will send you a copy of what I shoot today, and we're gonna do I'll shoot a couple of the races, but I'm mainly concentrating on my racing.
Okay, you should.
Thank you, Skip, and now we're heading out in my practice session. I traveled all the way here, over 350 miles, to test this bike. I changed the ignition. The ARD mag is gone. I put a tri-spark solid state ignition in. I'm running ignition, coil, and battery, a total loss system. But this is the first time I have raced. I'm looking back, it looks like I haven't raced in 3 years. I head down the back straightaway. The track looks pretty good, but I'm not in any great shape to be racing up in the cushion. But I'll tell you one thing, changing the ignition, where now this ignition has an advanced mechanism programmed in it, the bike feels much faster than it did before. I can't wait till next year, and maybe this year if they run at Elkhorn, to race this bike, but I'm gonna have to do some more sit-ups and push-ups to get myself ready to race. but I'm happy with the performance of my Triumph. The track looks pretty good, thanks to Steve Nace and his crew. And now we're going to head back to 2015, the last time I was here, I believe, and let's see how the bike ran then. Second practice session, the first practice session, the track was really wet and my lens got covered up immediately. Let's take a look at this beautiful half mile. It's a nice wide cushion half mile. What I mean by a cushion, it is a pea gravel track, and in the corners it can get 2 to 3 inches deep. I'm riding an outside line here. I'm going up high to see what it's like on the upper line, and then the idea is to square the corner up and come down along the bottom and stay on the gas. The key is you can flip off the throttle for a little bit right now and get back on the gas and steer the motorcycle with your rear wheel. You can see it's a little bit rough, but that's what makes flat tracking so much fun. You get to go very fast. You run about 90 miles an hour down the straightaway, going by now on a vintage Harley Davidson. That is William Applegate from Reddington, New Jersey, on a 61 cubic inch Harley Davidson twin with electric glide forks on that bike. He is flying. Even Jay Springsteen, national star Jay Springsteen, made a remark to me. He says he's one of the fastest cushion riders Jay has ever seen, and riding that vintage. I'm talking about a 1940s Harley Davidson with a 61 cubic inch engine, flat flying on this half mile track. As you can see, you're doing about 60 miles an hour in the corners. You can get it up to about 90 miles an hour down the straightaway, and that is what makes groove racing probably the greatest and most fun racing you can do anywhere. Now we're looking at Mr. William Applegate on that Harley Davidson. Like I said, he's got a 1950s chassis. He's got an electric glide front end on it. It's a 61 cubic inch twin. He's running this 1000cc class. This is called 1990s Vintage 1000. He's got a couple of his friends with him, but he is a wild man on this bike. And it goes along with his wild dreadlocks hairdo. But talk about a great rider. This guy putting on a great show right here in Ashland, Ohio. As one of the spectators said, turn the gas on, buddy. Now we're going to jump back to 2008 with the Arma National as I run this race.
One of my races. This is a heat race. I believe this is one of the 750 Sportsman heat races. I'm on the Triumph. The Triumph seems to be running pretty good. I lost the gas cap. That's when you look down, I've got the gas tank taped up. I head off the line. But the camera, because of the violence, the camera gets knocked out. I'm running third place in this heat race. Another bike just comes by me. Now I'm in fourth place, but I'm telling you, I am not ready for the craziness of this half-mile race. And I got to get out and run a little more often. I head through 3 and 4, running in fourth place, get on the gas down the front straightaway. Now once you get up to fourth gear, you do not shift anymore, you just let off the gas. I'm trying a little bit of high side, a little cushion up here, but not as much as I expected. I'm running a Pirelli tire in front and a Carlisle on the back. And now a rider comes down on the inside of me. I'm trying to figure out what is the fastest way around. But this gives you a good opportunity to see what the Ashland half mile looks like. To get back on the gas, down the front straightaway. The Triumph seems to be running pretty good. I spent time cleaning up the magneto, changing the oil, putting fresh gas in. This is it. Ashland, half mile. Heat race for 750 sportsman class. Not doing as well as I did a couple years ago, but you never know. One year the hero, the next year you're just another runner. But I'm having big fun running a half mile. It's been 2 years since I've been out on my Triumph. I'm happy it's running as good as it is. As I catch up with this bike, he may be having problems now as I scoop by him down the back straightaway. And as I come on the front straightaway, we're going to go to Rick Harrett, and he's got a poem from Jim Kelly, an old friend of his. So let's go to this Canadian, Rick Harrett, and listen.
My name's Rick Harrett. An old friend of mine, Jim Kelly, wrote this years ago. Jim was a lifelong motorcyclist, raced everything except land speed records. And when he quit racing, he started refereeing. And he noticed at the races, there's always an old man at the rail. He wrote this poem. It's called The Old Man at the Races. You can see him at every race, boys, if you just look around near that tight, hard turn or that fast, tricky bend. The old man can be found. He's leaning forward against the fence, watching the bikes go by with a trace of a smile on his wrinkled face and a twinkle in his eye, and no one gives him a second glance as his hand twists on the rail, and no one's aware that this old man could tell many a racing tale. No one remembers till just a while ago, this man who used to race until his arms grew tired and his eyesight blurred and kids set too fast a pace, and when he couldn't stand the grind no more with his bikes, he had to part because his back gave up and his eyesight too. But he still has a racer's heart, and he remembers with a bit of sadness then how he'd carried that checkered flag until he got too old and he got too slow, and then far behind he'd lag, and so he gave up the game, the active part. But to all the races he must go, for he is a man with a racer's heart, and his heart would have it so. I watched the old man there, boys, and I realized with a start that one day I or one of my friends would play the old man's part, and the careless crowd would pass us by, not seeing us twist the rail, not knowing our mouths go dry and our hearts beat fast when we hear the engines wail. One day the old man will ride again on that racetrack in the sky, and he'll be part of a roaring bike once more, with a twinkle in his eye. God grant me the right to joy, boys, for surely the good Lord can, to stand and thrill at the races when I am that old man.
Thank you, Rick. What a great poem. And now we're looking at the Open Pro Amateur class. Jumping out front looks like Adrian Brown. He's from Kentucky. He's on a Honda right behind him battling. That looks like Logan Enselhart running second. Third place, battle for third between Stett Wendell and Clark Moran. Up front though, Adrian Brown on that Honda. Battle for third place, looks like grabbing third place. It looks like Clark Moran. Looks like Aiden Brown has got a ton bike lengths over that Logan Enselhart. Moving to third place, it is that Clark Moran. What a battle. But going on to pick up the win, first heat, Open Pro-Am class, it's Adrian Brown from Kentucky on the Honda. Off the line, it is the second Open Pro-Am heat race. On the Yamaha up front, it looks like Ryan Miner right there. 701, it's just Reynolds. They come by one more time. Just Reynolds trying to find a way by. Just Reynolds running on that KTM. Ryan Miner still up front. Third place, looks like Richard Wenseth. Moving to the front. Battle for the lead, 701 trying to get by. He's on the inside. Down the front straightaway. Looks like he grabs the lead. going on to pick up the win. Second Pro-Am heat race. It is 7:01. That is Jesse Reynolds picking up the win in the second heat race. And this is the final event. Open Pro-Am class jumping out front. The winner of the first heat race, Adrian Brown from Walton, Kentucky on that Honda. He is leading this race. Second place looks like Clark Moran. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio on the KTM. Logan Engelhardt from Bartow, Pennsylvania on the Honda is running in third place. Looks like nobody's got an advantage. Got a little battle going on for fourth and fifth between Ryan Menner and Jesse Reynolds. A Yamaha against a KTM. We're going on to pick up the win. It was Adrian Brown on the Honda. And earlier I had a chance to talk to a great guy, Jimmy Pooler. He let me use his rollers all day to start my Triumph. He's got a complete collection of motorcycles and a great story about road racing and flat track racing.
My name is Jimmy Pooler. I'm from West Salem, Ohio, and we're here at Ashland County Fairgrounds at the half mile. And this is a Steve Nace race, 2022, and I am running a vintage Yamaha TT 500 in a J&M frame, and the bike so far is handling pretty good. Hopefully that continues. And then I'm also running the 40 plus class on a KTM 450 that's in a Circle F frame. It's a framer, and that bike also is handling really well. The class is very competitive because they have everybody from 40 years old and older in the class. What else?
You're only running two classes?
Two classes. Yeah, we have 4 bikes. There's lots of extra stuff.
Tell me about these other 2 bikes.
Okay, the other bike, this is a Can-Am 250. Normally would run in the lightweight vintage class. It's in a Champion frame. Can-Am got together with Champion in the mid-70s, and they made a few of the factory bikes. And this is one of them. It handles like you wouldn't believe. You just never lift. And it's
And a ton of horsepower. Those Can-Am motors made.
It makes about 45 horsepower for a air-cooled 250.
Right.
It'll hang with any 360. We were leading just a few weeks ago at the VMD race, and the spark plug cap fell off. That was hilarious. The other one is a Rotax. It's a wood Rotax bike. It's a wood frame with a Rotax engine, one of the engines he obviously did. And it's a 1988-89 bike. Handles great, very fast, has a 640 kit in it. Today we're not running it in the vintage class because they don't allow you to run a Rotax in the vintage class. So we just kind of have it here just for the fun of it, I guess. So.
All right, so what about your road racing? Tell me about that, how we overlap.
Yeah. So I road raced since 2002 with Wera, Fast Tracks, and Arma. And I ran a lot of endurance fast track races with both Wera and Arma, or Wera and Fast Tracks. And we ran Nelson's, Groton a whole bunch, more than I can imagine actually. And then we ran Arma both directions. We used to run Arma there. Motocrossed at Groton as well. And yeah, they're all fun tracks. We still road race today, and just this is an off-road race weekend, so we get to go do some flat track.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you for letting me use your rollers to start my Triumph all day. Now we're looking at the all-star twin up front. It is Jared Vanderkooi. He is from Mount Gilead, which is nearby, and he's riding that Indian Scout. Second place looks like Jeffrey Lowry. He's on a Kawasaki. He's from St. Louisville, Ohio. Third place looks like number 73. That's Shane Livingston. This rider will not be denied in this first heat race. Going by and really stretching the lead on that Indian Scout. That is Jared Vanderkooi. As we see a battle for third place between Shane Livingston and Jesse Reynolds. But on that Indian Scout, Jared Vanderkooi, local hero. And I haven't had a chance to talk to him since Springfield, probably in 2018. Goes on to pick up the win, and I had a chance to look at his Indian Scout and ask him about the racetrack and his sponsors.
So how's the track? Tell me about the track out there.
The track's good, you know, Steve Nace got a lot of moisture in it. It's heavy, the cushion's pretty deep. but having fun. Yeah, the track's good.
Sponsors you want to mention?
Yeah, everyone that gets me here, Ben for bringing the bike out. If not, I'll be riding my personal bike. Groove Systems, Dallas, Texas, Mission Foods, HCR, Luke Molly, everyone that helps me out, send them. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jared. This is it, the final event. All-Star Twins jumping out front. It's Cameron Smith. He's from Waterloo, New York. He's on a Kawasaki. Second place is like Jared Vanderkooi from Mount Gilead. Third place is like Jeffrey Lowry. He's on a Kawasaki. Fourth place is Shane Livingston. He's on a Harley Davidson, and so is Johnny Bova. Great battle up front as we see Jared Vanderkooi trying to find a way by. Cameron Smith, the New York rider on the Kawasaki, has got the point. Jared Vanderhart trying the inside line on this time through. The Kawasaki looks like it's making good horsepower. The Indian Scout trying to chase him down. Third place is Jeffrey Lowry. Shane Livingston running in fourth place. Going on to pick up the win, it's Cameron Smith. For more information about Steve Nace Racing, it is stevenaceracing.com to find out more about their racing program for the rest of this year and into 2023. To contact me, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. I love to hear from my audience. Let me know what you think of this clip. Remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing for great motorcycle racing action. Dan Schmitt Politics to learn what makes America great. And I highly encourage you to visit the World of Motorcycle Museum. They're Winamac, Indiana, 4 miles south of North Judson on Indiana 39. Give them a call first at 574-896-3172. It's a great trip and a great collection of motorcycles.